Let's start Chiefs-Jaguars here. Look, the obvious answer is Patrick Mahomes, right? Like, I can't sit here and tell you that Trevor Lawrence and the Jaguars have the advantage at quarterback. But I will say this about Trevor Lawrence. I don't think the gap between Mahomes and Lawrence in this specific game is as wide as you think. I really respect the hell out of Trevor Lawrence, and I think on Saturday we'll see a lot more of Trevor Lawrence from the second half of that Chargers game last week compared to the first half. And the reason for that is I do think now he was able to kind of get out, whether it was jitters, whether it was nerves, just even some bad reads early on trying to force it. Like, you talk about having the worst possible start to your playoff career, throwing 4 picks in the first half. Do you know how much stones it takes to brush that off? To throw 4 picks in your first ever playoff game? Be down 27-0 and say, boys, let's just go out there and come back and win the game and have it be done. That's something that not a lot of quarterbacks would be able to do. So I give Trevor Lawrence a lot of credit. I think he does come into Saturday's game with a lot of confidence. But again, with that said, it's Patrick Mahomes. It's the best quarterback in the NFL. There's really, outside of Joe Burrow, I think that's the best argument and the best discussion we could have in terms of someone either being equal or surpassing the Chiefs in terms of having a quarterback advantage. Otherwise, it's advantage Chiefs in any other matchup possible. But again, I do think Trevor Lawrence, for what he's been able to do in that second half, and again, the stones I think it takes kind of bounce back after that really, really rough first half. I give him a lot of credit, but in the end, I do think Patrick Mahomes has the advantage there, and the Chiefs do have that quarterback advantage in matchup number 1. The nightcap on Saturday, Giants-Eagles. I think the Giants are the ones with a quarterback advantage going to this game. Like, I'm not telling you Daniel Jones is the better quarterback, or if we're starting a team, tomorrow, I'd rather have Daniel Jones over Jalen Hurts. What I'm telling you is, going to tomorrow or later tonight, this specific game, I'd rather have Daniel Jones right now than Jalen Hurts for 2 reasons. Number 1, health. I don't think Jalen Hurts is very healthy. I don't. If I had to put a percentage on it, I would say he's closer right now to 50% health than 100% health. Missed 2 games, as we know. Week 18 game, I get it. It's one of those games where you do have to win in order to clinch the number 1 seed and win the NFC East. So there was a reason for the for the Eagles to play hard and kind of not hold anything back. With that said, the Giants playing backups, and you can count by the game plan. The Eagles were really kind of trying to limit Jalen Hurts, especially the way he was running. He only ran for 13 yards in that game. So they were trying to make it easy for him. But so I expect it to open up a little bit on Saturday night compared to what we saw in Week 18. But he is clearly limited by this right shoulder injury. You heard Nick Sirianni after that Week 18 game against the Giants talk about how sore and how much in pain Jalen Hurts was. You see any practice video, just look it up. Find any Eagles beat writer from this week and look at some of the videos they post from practice and Jalen Hurts and what he's doing. He's doing nothing in practice. And that's not an accident. He's hurt. He knows it. The team knows it. I think it's going to really be hamper, I should say. Excuse me. Jeez. Sorry about that. I kind of forgot what word I was trying to look for there. I think it's going to really hamper and limit this Eagles' explosiveness on offense, because part of the reason that makes them so undefendable is the fact that they have a great running game, which Jalen Hurts is a large part of. And when you're kind of not being able to focus on either the run or the pass and they're unpredictable, that's when A.J. Brown's open 1-on-1 and Jalen Hurts hurts you. But if you are able to take the running game or limit the running game of Jalen Hurts, now all of a sudden that Eagles offense is a lot more predictable. Now is all of a sudden a lot more defendable. And that's, I think, what we're going to see Saturday night. I don't think Jalen Hurts is going to be as mobile. I don't think his legs are going to be as big of a factor in parts. I think he's going to try to take care of that right shoulder. And when you look, too, the biggest thing where his lack of mobility, or again, maybe his, let's say, shoulder injury hurts the Eagles the most, it's in the red zone. Eagles are one of the best red zone teams in the NFL. They are 3rd in terms of touchdown percentage when they get inside the 20-yard line. And I get, again, some of the game planning was vanilla against the Giants and against their backups in Week 18. I get it. But in that game, the Eagles made the red zone 5 times, 4 field goals. That's a win for the Giants. The Giants will win this game if we're talking about the Eagles setting for field goals and settling for 3 instead of 7. That's where, again, Jalen Hurts and not being explosive with his legs and not being able to run as much as he normally does is really going to hurt the Eagles when they get inside the 20 and the field shrinks. So that's reason number 1 why I think the Giants have the quarterback advantage. The other reason is Daniel Jones is playing really well. And this is coming from someone who's not a Daniel Jones fan. I really did not believe in him. if I'm the Giants, I'm still wary of giving him a long-term contract, to be completely honest. But I can't deny this last month, he has played his best football of his career. He's running the ball really well. He's throwing the ball really well. He's not turning the ball over his last 4 games, 7 touchdowns, 1 turnover. This is an Eagles team that is banged up. And I think that is susceptible, especially in the run game. I think Daniel Jones, what we kind of saw in Minnesota last week, he can replicate as well. So when you look at the way Daniel Jones is playing and the momentum he has going to this game, countered, or I should say paired with Jalen Hurts' injury and his health not being anywhere near 100%, I think the Giants have the quarterback advantage going to Saturday night. The big one here, the toughest one, I think is going to be in terms of deciphering the quarterback advantage. Bengals, Bills, Sunday afternoon. I'm giving the advantage to Cincinnati, Joe Burrow. Even though it's a small sample size in terms of Joe Burrow, and this is only his second year in the postseason, and Josh Allen's done it for longer, Patrick Mahomes has done it for longer. Outside of Mahomes, I don't think there's a quarterback I'd want more, I trust more, to get it done in a bigger spot than Joe Burrow. He's just one of those guys where physically, does he have the strongest arm? No. Does he have the fastest legs or escapability? Absolutely not. He is one of those guys, though, that just finds a way to get it done. He grinds out wins. He finds a way, man. I think that speaks volumes and is really valuable, especially once you get to the playoffs and things get ugly, things get off script. You're talking about a Cincinnati team right now that's going to go into Buffalo on Sunday with down 3 offensive linemen. To me, that doesn't really scare me. In terms of this game, I think Cincinnati's winning this game. I think the Bengals are going to upset the Bills. And in large part, because I think Joe Burrow is just one of those guys that just says, all right, I'm down 3 offensive linemen. All right, no problem. I'll find a way. We'll get it done. Quicker throws, maybe more moving outside the pocket. Maybe he's going to use his legs more than ever. He's one of those guys that just figures out a way to get it done. When you look at Josh Allen, especially going into this game specifically, the turnover bug has gotten him recently. 3 turnovers against the Dolphins last week. That was the biggest reason why, one of the biggest reasons why the Dolphins were, with Skylar Thompson, able to stay in that game for the majority of it and almost won the game. In large part because, again, Josh Allen let the Dolphins back in. He's had issues in the red zone, also turning the ball over, which I don't like. And this offense for Buffalo is a little hit or miss. It is one of those offenses where when they hit big plays, they're unstoppable. But the thing is, though, when those big plays dry up, they have a trouble sustaining drives and putting 3, 4, 5 first downs together. And in the playoffs, I think that is imperative. That is key. You have to have sustained drives. You got to keep, Joe Burrow off the field as much as possible. Keep your offense on the field. And that's one thing that Buffalo has struggled with, and we saw it just last week. This Miami defense was not great, but they found some key stops, some key times, and were able to keep their bad offense in it for way longer than they should have. So I think the Bengals with Joe Burrow had that quarterback advantage in that game on Sunday afternoon. And then I cap 49ers Cowboys. I think San Francisco has a quarterback advantage. I think Brock Purdy right now, going to this game specifically, is a better quarterback than Dak Prescott. Because right now, what we've seen, how can I not trust Brock Purdy? He checks all the boxes that you're looking for. Efficiency, check. Guys, since he's come into the starting role, 13 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, 107 passer rating. Which I get it, it's in a small sample size of 6 games. So I'm not trying to tell you that he is the best quarterback in the NFL, but just to put into, just to give you a little taste and a little reasoning of that 107 passer rating, why it's important, Tua Tagovailoa finished this year with the best passer rating in the NFL. It was 105. We're talking about a 107 passer rating for Brock Purdy. Impressive. So efficiency, check. Poise, check. This is a guy who, to his credit, I spent the whole large part of the last hour kind of knocking him. Kind of talking about, what he's doing. It's a large part of Kyle Shanahan and the pieces around him than it is just Brock Purdy being great. And I still think that's true. But one thing I'll give Brock Purdy credit for is the fact that he is unflappable. He's a guy that can stare down the barrel of a gun when the blitz is coming. He's a guy that when the play breaks out, he doesn't panic. He doesn't look to, force a ball in a window or even if the throw's not there. He doesn't try to throw it up and just kind of make some of these hope plays. He does stay poised. He does not panic. Rarely makes the big mistake. And even when he does make a mistake, even when he either throws an interception or is nervous and kind of has some jitters early on in a playoff game like he did last week against against Seattle, he finds a way to settle down. He finds a way to get in a groove, shake it off, does not have a long memory, and does not allow one mistake to compile into 2, 3, or 4, like we've seen from other quarterbacks, even like we've seen from Dak Prescott, who right now has had, outside of Monday night, had a bad habit recently of turning the ball over in some inopportune times. So Dak was great last week, don't get me wrong. But outside of last week, that 7-game sample size, not been very good. So I think the 49ers have the quarterback advantage in this matchup. So when you look at the 4 divisional round games here, who has the quarterback matchup? I think the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes have the advantage. I think Daniel Jones and the Giants have the advantage over the Eagles. I think Joe Burrow and the Bengals have the advantage over the Bills. I think Brock Purdy and the 49ers have the advantage over Dallas in the divisional round finale.